right, we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our second segment. But before that, please do remember to like and subscribe. Use the donate link on the screen, gsmcspodcast.net. It really does help the show. It really does mean a lot. 51% of you watching this content on YouTube are not subscribed, so make sure you're subscribed to make sure you get notifications whenever we upload, not just me, but all the other great and amazing content creators on this channel. So, it would really be appreciated. And again, we make great content, so I'm sure you'd love to view it. All right, so we're going to our second segment here, and as I talked about it before the break, of course, and that is going to be about free agents, but maybe not who you expect. So the entire off season, or the time I've been doing this show, really, we've been talking about the Boris Four and all the big free agents left, as we should. They're very important, and they're obviously superstars, and they're being talked about a lot because they are such great players. But I feel like players that have gone under the radar a little bit are players that with a smaller, that have a smaller name recognition, or are not superstars, but still I think are very impactful players to teams that can help a lot, and players that can help teams win, be a big impact to them. So I just want to talk about them, and talk about some fits for them as well, and how they can affect the team. So let's get started with that. So first I have Mr. Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham is a very interesting guy, as we know. Got himself back in the public eye, in a good way this year with his performance with the Mets and then Diamondbacks. People thought he had some character issues coming back after the situation with Jock Peterson. We all know what I'm talking about, where he slapped him over fantasy football. But I think Tommy Pham still at this point in his career is a very, very good player. He had a great breakout season with the Mets after a few mediocre years. Got his eyesight fixed, which I definitely think was part of that. No one really knows this, but I have the same eye disease as Tommy Pham, keratoconus, and I can vouch firsthand how important those contacts are, and how important the right prescription is as someone who does have that disease. So, it was extremely impactful, and I definitely think it was a big factor in the way he played with the Mets. You saw the impact right away after he said he got new contacts. So. Two teams that came to mind right away when talking about Pham and where he could sign was first his former team, the Padres. The Padres need outfield help. There's no sugarcoating that. They only have they have like 3 outfielders on the 40-man roster, which is crazy. I think Tommy Pham would not only help with the outfield depth, but just be another great bat to add to that lineup. Again, he had a great season last year. It's not like he was bad and teams are just signing him to be depth because they need an outfielder. He had a really good season last year. And I'm looking forward to see what he does this year. And, I think the Padres are a good fit. I don't know how the fan base likes him. I think there was some beef there with him and the fan base, I think, earlier this year. But I think winning's all that matters. And if he can win, I think it'll be okay. The Mariners, I think, also could use him. They need some help still with the overall outfield. And I think Pham would make a lot of sense for that. Would also bring a chip on his shoulder to this younger team that I think maybe needs a little bit more fire in him. So I think Tommy Pham to the Padres and the Mariners makes some sense. I think both teams need an outfielder. Both teams do make sense as fits for Pham, and I want him to sign soon. And I think he's very impactful to a team, and I'm looking forward to see where he lands as a fan of him personally. Next, we have Michael A. Taylor. He's another guy like Tommy Pham, an outfielder. He was the 4th outfielder of the Twins last year, filling in and starting a little bit when Byron Buxton was hurt. So he hits for a lot of power and plays really, really good defense. Really what he's known for is his defense. He's a center fielder, so very important. I thought of 2 teams. One was, of course, the Padres. Any outfielder I have to mention with the Padres because of just their lack of depth there, and they still have money to spend. So I think he could make sense there playing center field. Also, I think his former team, the Royals, makes some sense. Going back there, they obviously know him very well. You also have the fact of the Royals do need some outfield help. And I think with them showing they want to win, I think Michael A. Taylor going back there would be an interesting fit. And I think both these teams do make a lot of sense for him, and I'm looking forward to see where he lands and how he can impact the team. I think he's a really underrated player, and I think his glove is one of the best in the business. So, Next, we have Adam Duvall, another guy I'm really kind of shocked still out on the market. He's a really good player, and he's still out here. No one, there was a rumor a long time ago that he was between the Angels and the Red Sox, but obviously that didn't go anywhere. So, yeah, with him, I think the Angels and Red Sox do make sense, like I said before. Both in the outfield help. Both could use them. Again, I have to mention the Padres because, again, outfielder. So, yeah, I mean, Duvall's an interesting one. Going to be interesting to see where he signs. And, I'm looking forward to see how he can impact the team. I think he's a pretty good center fielder and a guy that can definitely help. And another underrated guy in this smaller crop of free agents. So, looking forward to see what happens with Mr. Duvall. And, he can't land in Jacksonville, unfortunately, because there's no Jacksonville baseball team, but that would be pretty great if he could because of Duvall. But, next we have Brandon Belt, who I really only have one team here, and that team is the Rangers. I think the Rangers make so much sense for Brandon Belt. They need some help with DH still. I think they've been mentioning rumors with JD Martinez, who I'm not going to be talking about here because I'm going to talk about him Monday when we get updates on the free agents on this weekend. But I think they need a lot of help in that DH spot. Brandon Belt can still hit righties at a high level, still walks good, has a high on-base percentage. So I think he still brings value to a team. He's also a veteran to this Rangers team, which they definitely need after winning the World Series. Just load yourself up with veterans, try to repeat. And, of course, you have to think about the Bruce Bochy connection. Bruce Bochy, of course, was the legendary manager for the Giants in those 3 World Series they won in 6 years. And Belt was a big part of that, of course, being their starting first baseman. Of course, now Bochy is the manager of the Rangers. And so with the connection Belt has to Bochy and to the Rangers organization, I think that makes a lot of sense for him to go there. I think the Rangers make a ton of sense for Brandon Belt. Of course, other teams do make sense and fit, but I think the Rangers just make too much sense for him not to go there. There was a rumor before, I believe it was from Buster Only, about him talking about the Rangers and Belt. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm looking forward to see what happens with Belt and just the market moving in general and where he could go. So next we'll be talking about another guy who's similar like Belt, a big lefty first baseman who hits righties pretty well and walks a lot. I am, of course, talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joey Votto. Votto, of course, had an illustrious career with the Reds and is now a free agent for one of the first times in his career, maybe even the first. So I think there's really 3 options for Joey Votto to go. One, of course, is re-signing with the Reds. I don't know what the fit would be because they do have a good amount of infield depth there, and they are a younger team who I don't know if they want to give Votto the opportunity he's looking for, but it would be fun for him to end out his career with one team. Second is retire and play his whole career with the Reds. If he doesn't get an offer or no offers from a team that he would really like, I think retiring just makes some sense. And he's had an amazing career, probably a Hall of Famer. I think he's the definition of borderline, but I think he gets in the end because of how many people like him and just his overall career stats, how good he was consistently until maybe the last 2 years of his career. And when talking about Votto, you of course have to mention the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays haven't mentioned with Votto really his entire career, considering he is probably the best baseball player ever from Toronto or even Canada. I mean, he's definitely up there with guys like Larry Walker, but I definitely think he's probably top 5. I think Freddie Freeman as well. He's not from Canada, but he's Canadian, played for Team Canada, but you get the point. He's from Toronto. The Blue Jays, of course, are probably going to lose Brandon Belt. He would fit in right there immediately as a fit. You did sign Justin Turner as a DH, but you could platoon them a little bit. You could have Turner play some third base, even first base if he wants, play him around the diamond. Votto is just a bench bat. And, of course, the storyline is amazing. I mean, you have to look at storylines. Baseball and sports are a business, and I think Votto going back to Toronto will be an amazing storyline. And I would like to see him end up in Toronto, to be completely honest. And, I want to see what happens with that. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Votto, one of the best personalities in our game. Just seems like a great guy, great dude. So I'm looking forward to, I don't know why I'm saying looking forward too much. Sorry about that. But, I'm interested to see what happens with him. And, want to see where he lands. And hopefully he lands with the Blue Jays because it would be really, really fun. Sorry. Next thing we have our last position player is Eddie Rosario. Now, Eddie's kind of okay. Not really that high in Eddie Rosario. It's kind of the same teams I mentioned with the outfielders. Padres, Mariners, Royals, Angels, Red Sox, kind of those teams. I think Eddie could end up anywhere. He could resign with the Braves, I guess, maybe be a fourth outfielder type role, late pinch hitting scenarios against righties. But yeah, I just want to mention him because he was there. But I think it's kind of the same as the other ones. He's a fine player. Can't really play defense, but he's good at hitting sometimes. So next we are going to move to our 3 starting pitchers. The first one is going to be Michael Lorenzen. He was an all-star this year, and he's still in the market, which is crazy. Broke out with the Tigers after a few mediocre seasons with the Reds, then going to the Angels. I think any team that still needs a pitcher could definitely look for Lorenzen. The Padres, of course, makes sense. They need a pitcher. He's been rumored with the Mets a little bit, especially today. There were some rumors going around that the Mets are prepared to make him a contract offer from MLB Network Radio, but I don't think that's very reliable. And if it is, I'll let you know on the show if something does happen with that, but I doubt it. You have the Pirates, who could use some more starting pitching. I think that's a team that should definitely look at Lorenzen, especially because where his price might be right now. The Giants make a lot of sense, in my opinion, with the injuries they've had to their starting pitching. I think the Giants make a lot of sense for Lorenzen. I think that's where he should go. Giants had him to a 1-year deal. Really solidifies that rotation. I mean, Tristan Beck, Keaton Wynn, Alec Cobb, Robbie Ray, all those guys are going to be hurt and out for a little bit. So I think signing a guy like Lorenzen really solidify that depth in your rotation. And, if you're bad, you can trade him at the deadline on a 1-year contract. Get something like the Tigers did. And if you're good and he doesn't fit, you can, move him to the bullpen. He's a swingman type. So I think Lorenzen brings a lot of value to whatever team he does end up in. And I think especially these 4 teams make a lot of sense for him. Next, we're going to talk about a little bit of a forgotten man, and that is Noah Syndergaard. We know Syndergaard's story at this point. One of the better starting pitchers in baseball, starting his career with the Mets. Went to the Angels on a shocker move that shocked every Mets fan, including me. Did not play very well with the Angels. Got traded to the Phillies. Was okay there. Signed a big 1-year contract with the Dodgers. Did not perform there. Got traded for Amed Rosario. Did not perform well for the Guardians. Was DFA'd and has been out there since. He's gotten some non-roster invite deals, but he's looking for a Major League one. I haven't really heard many teams connected to him. I think the Padres and Pirates make some sense, as teams that could take a flyer on him. Teams that are kind of really desperate for pitching depth. I still think he does have name recognition, so I think that will also work in your favor if you're a smaller market team like the Pirates. I'm interested to see what happens with Syndergaard as a Mets fan. He'll always have a special place in my heart, especially for that 2015 World Series. So, I'm excited to see where he goes and excited to see if his career can take off again. And finally, we have Mike Clevinger. Clevinger, I think, is the same teams we've really mentioned with the other pitching. Padres, Mets, Giants, Padres. I think I said Padres twice. Yeah, Giants. I think those teams just do make some sense for Clevinger. He does have some character issue concerns. He did have an investigation put into him because of some domestic violence allegations. He got a punishment that is unknown by MLB. So I think that you have to look into that also when you're looking at signing him. We're not going to talk more about that, but that's, I think that's kind of a big reason why he's still not signed, because of the character concerns and, it's kind of being late in the offseason still. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with him, but I think the teams we mentioned with pitching make sense for him as well. All right, so that is our second segment here. We're going to take another break, but next segment we're going to be talking about spring training standings, what to make of that, and what's going on with that. So we'll talk about that, and but before we'll go to our our second break, and we'll talk about segment 3 after. So thanks.